to the issues. Probably as they were trying to cope or cry or express themselves with the issue, they found themselves being shut down and being told, no, you don't cry. Some of the uncles even come and tell you, be like a man, there's no need to cry. Or if you cry, what do you expect your siblings to do? And when you talk of them being breadwinners, there are times which are not good. Like they go hustling out there, they don't come with anything. And how we support them as ladies really means a lot. So some of these challenges is how do we accept that, okay, today I'm not okay, today I'm not feeling well, today I cannot do it. So how do I accept that I need this person to support me? So you will tend to show that you are okay while you are not okay.
Okay, how do we support men that are experiencing mental health issues through the actions? Which are these actions that we can support them with?
I do believe you can help men, because when over the last few decades we have shown the ability, or we have shown the awareness to try to accept help. People are starting to open up that we really need help, and this is a great thing. So how can you help them? I think I can probably say with the women.
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are joined by a counseling psychologist whose heart, mind and soul is dedicated to serve the public. He's a motivational speaker, public speaker, a founder of Adlucem Masters, an organization which spreads love through mental health talk and team building activities. Last but not least, a senior sergeant of prisons. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Joe, the psychologist? Welcome, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Introduce yourself.
So my name is Joe, the psychologist, as you heard. As she said, I'm the founder of Adlucem Masters. As she said again, it's something which I created so that you can spread the love of trying to help people through team building activities and mental health talks to be able to regain and to be able to help themselves to continue with life. As we say, life is like riding a bicycle. For you to keep balance, you must keep moving on. So I help them to move on.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's June, Men's Mental Health Month. I chose the topic because it's close to my heart. So let's hear from the psychologist, Joseph Masharia himself, discuss the mental health in men specifically. In men, yeah.
What is mental health in men?
Yeah.
It's a very interesting month because we are able to focus on a very integral part of our community, the man. And the man being integral, try to speak about this man. He also faces mental health issues. Mental health issues are simply, we're trying to speak of stress. We all undergo various stresses in our lives. So mental health is just trying to ask ourselves, how can we help this person to be able to solve or cope with the normal stresses of life so that he does not spiral down to the effects of mental health illnesses which may come about as a result of not being able to handle mental health issues well. So that's simply trying to help this person to regain sanity, or in terms of making sure that he can be able to process, to be able to do things, to be able to walk, to be able to work, to be able to do things in a manner which he can be able to say that I can deal with the stresses of life in a more normal way.
What are the signs of mental struggles in men?
Well, the signs of mental health struggles in men, I can be specific, but some of them are general. The specific ones we can say probably are, you can find men usually have undergone through so much. The society has placed a certain role in them, which may create stress. Again, we have cultural values which are there that have made them feel that probably they have made them to do things in a certain way, which makes them undergo stress. And finally, we have individual things which make them go through stress. So if I can go specifically, I can talk of trauma. There are some traumatic issues which men undergo, and they undergo probably from their young age. And due to these issues that they undergo from a young age, with life, probably it may be the death of somebody significant in their life. They may never have known how to cope with the issues. Probably as they were trying to cope or cry or express themselves with the issue, they found themselves being shut down and being told, no, you don't cry. Some of the uncles even come and tell you, be like a man, there's no need to cry. Or if you cry, what do you expect your siblings to do? Or what do you expect the girls to do? So we've been socialized as men not to express ourselves, and that may have, even in traumatic circumstances, that may have led to them undergoing through so much stress. The other one is identity. We have created an identity of men being people who are resilient. Well, it's good because it helps them to be able to become people of strength and resilient people. But at the same time, we can develop what I call traumatic resilience. That is when you undergo through something that is difficult to face, and still you're being told to be strong for it. So identity is when you create a notion that this is how I'm supposed to be, this is how I'm supposed to live. So if I'm a man, I'm not supposed to cry, then you socialize yourself as that. I'm not supposed to cry or express myself. So you create an identity that makes you less vulnerable. And the less vulnerable you are, despite the issues you face, the more difficult it is for you to be able to face this life. Because at times, you need moments where you can say that I cannot, so help me too. So those are two of the issues which are probably affects men as they grow up. Something else which really affects them is stigma. Stigma is a very core issue, especially with men expressing themselves in terms of stress. We expect ladies to be the ones to cry. I remember growing up as a young child in primary school, when you went to be beaten by the teachers, we expected the girls to cry. Mm-hmm. So if the man or the boy cried, he was seen as a weakling. So we entered the staff room and probably being punished, knowing that all of us won't cry. So you're coming out of such a place with a big load. You want to express your tears, but you feel like, no, as a man, I should not cry. So the stigma associated with expressing the fears and expressing the worries that we have as men has made us, have a specific, thing which limits us to be expressive. So those are just some of the few issues which I feel affect men. And as much as most of them are general, there's a few which are gender specific, which makes men more vulnerable to succumbing to mental health issues.
Okay, an individual who suffers from mental health issue must have a challenge or two. So what are the challenges that men face?
Men face really big challenges, and I can talk of this in connection to those issues that we've just talked about. Men face the challenge of trying to become the one to stand and show firmness. So some of these challenges, I can say, developing from a young age. Some of them come right now as they are men, as they cater for their families, because you're the breadwinner. And, when you mention the word breadwinner, you expect that person to be a man. And when you talk of them being breadwinners, there are times which are not good. Like they go hustling out there, they don't come with anything. And how we support them as ladies really means a lot. So some of these challenges is how do we accept that, okay, today I'm not okay. Today I'm not feeling well. Today I cannot do it. So how do I accept that I need this person to support me? So you will tend to show that we are okay while we are not okay. So some of these challenges may be in expression, maybe in accepting to be vulnerable, maybe in asking for help. Because if I can ask for help, then it shows that I really need somebody to hold me. So challenges come in various ways, and that is how I feel probably it may really affect men in expressing themselves and becoming all fulfilling what they need to fulfill in life.
Okay, when you notice maybe a man is suffering from mental health issues, how well can one start a conversation with such a man?
Well, I believe any conversation that involves mental health issues for a man, to be specific, starts with vulnerability. And this is what I can say. If you can reach a point where you can say, well, I have a problem, then that's where the conversation should start. Because if you don't accept there's a problem, then there's no moment we'll start looking for a solution. I always believe that anytime that you sit down and tell a person, I need help, definitely people start thinking, how can you help this person? So any conversation about mental health for men should start by the man accepting vulnerability and saying, well, I cannot do this. I will give a small illustration. The illustration is when we talk of this tree we call an oak tree. An oak tree is known to be a tree which is very strong. It's known to be a tree which grows to even more than 150 meters. It's a tree which has a long width, around 20 meters big. So it's a very strong tree. A tree which stays for long, can go with almost any weather issues that are there. So it's a tree which is very strong and known to be capable to undergo a lot of stress, but still stand strong. And there's a comparison with the reeds that we have in water. These reeds that you have in water, whenever there's probably some wind, they always bend. So in other words, what happens is that they are able to just bend, and when the wind goes, they raise up again. But you see, when there's a strong wind, at times the wind can break the oak tree. But the reeds bend. After the strong wind, they go back to their normal position. In other words, they accept their vulnerability as being weak by bending. Well, the oak tree, which believes it's strong and capable, stands, but still when the wind is too strong, it breaks. In other words, as men, it's always important to reach a point where we say, well, we need to be vulnerable at times. Let's accept that there are issues which you're facing, and let's accept that we need help. That at times when we show our strength always and ego and try to stand strong, we shall break. So let us reach a point where we can say, well, I need help. Let me bend low and allow a person to come and help me. And I know when...
Yeah, so Joe,
Yes.
There are ways to support when someone is in need of something.
Yes.
Okay, how do we support men that are experiencing mental health issues through the actions? Which are these actions that we can support them with?
I do believe we can help men, because when over the last few decades we have shown the ability, or we have shown the awareness to try to accept help. People are starting to open up that we really need help, and this is a great thing. So how can we help them? I think I can probably say with the women or the ladies, there's a part to play for these men. There's a time that we had this story that goes of a couple who went into a zoo, and as they were in the zoo, they went and reached at a place where there was like a small dam. Well, they were in that small dam. They had a boat, and the owner of the zoo told the people, you can enter into the boat and go just a few meters inside the dam. So when they went, and there were like 5-6 couples in the boat. When they reached at around 50 meters, the owner of the zoo challenged them and told them, if there's anyone who can swim across back to the shores, then I'll give them $1 million. Now, the catch was here that in the water there were crocodiles. Because there were crocodiles, nobody could have attempted to do that. But unfortunately, one man entered into the water and tried to swim across. The crocodiles tried to catch up with him, but luckily enough, he was able to go across the shore, and he was given the $1 million. And as he was being given the prize, he was asked by the owner, how did you go, swim across? Why did you get the courage, the confidence to even do that? Interesting enough, the man answered, well, the truth is that I'm not the one who jumped in. It's my wife who pushed me. And if not for her, probably I could not have even attempted or even thought. And the conversation on what I'm trying to say is this. As ladies, at times, for us to make those big wins in our life, and in most cases, for us to make the big wins in our lives as men, we need a push from the ladies. We need them to hold our hands. We need them to take us closer to our destiny by helping us to do things which we cannot do by ourselves as men. You can do this by even trying to encourage us even more, by creating seminars or forums where we can be able to learn things that can challenge us as men to stand upright and to seek help. Try to create forums, and especially for those ladies and women who are in power. You have the ability to organize more. It may be not even much power. You can have even churches who can come, or mosques who can come and think, how can we create a forum for men to be able to talk about their issues? I think ladies can have that big role to play. Encourage us, lift us, and help us to be able to know how we can rise ourselves. Create opportunities like you do create for yourselves, of how you can help us to recover. As I go to the other groups, probably I can talk about our children. Children, there's a big role you can play towards the man. I'm speaking, probably you may look at your father who drinks so much and you wonder why is he doing that, and you see them as garbage probably, or your brother. Please kindly don't see them as failures. I want you to see them as people who have issues that they need help. And at times, they may have undergone through something which have disturbed them so much, and they really needed somebody to talk to. Support them and look for ways to support them. Talk to your mothers and probably help them to understand that they need help. And so through these changes that they have undergone, and we may have ourselves, talk of societies, there's something we can do as groups. We can come up together to support the man, create forums, create opportunities for men to be able to, to have people to talk to them. Let's encourage them to visit counselors. Let's be open to help them to help them to be able to come into a position where they can say, well, I can get help. And the best way to get help is to seek somebody who can talk to me, somebody who I can be vulnerable to, and who can help me to live life in the best way possible.
Okay, what can a man do to stay mentally stable and healthy?
What can a man do to stay mentally healthy?
Yes.
Stable and healthy? One thing which I usually say is, and I always like repeating this, you've heard me repeat this several times, becoming vulnerable and knowing that, well, I am a human being. I will undergo through stresses of life, but at times I need to express myself as a person who have issues and who needs help. So that's one of the things, accepting and becoming vulnerable. Second, a man we can try to look for these communities, and there are so many. We can have these communities where you can come up, or anonymous groups where you can create groups to come up and talk about mental health issues. Groups where you can come and talk about, how do you deal with grief? And we can help people, you can have people talk about the way they have handled grief, and we can learn from them. We can be able to learn from chronic and anonymous groups. How can we be able to navigate such issues of taking alcohol, and how can I come out of this if it's probably stress-induced? How can we come up with groups which can help us to talk about helping our children who probably may be giving us the stress? So creating communities or groups which can help us to focus on life issues is another way that you can do as men to be able to recover from any issue that you're facing. Something else which I usually feel is let's try to exercise. It's very good. It's therapeutic. Exercise is very therapeutic as men. Let us look for activities which can help us to exercise and to be able to cope with our mental health issues. There are happy hormones which are released every time you engage in a physical activity. These happy hormones create a happy atmosphere inside us, so we can be able to get happy. But let's look for sporting activities also. There are people who once you have a mental health issue, like probably depression, which has descended to depression, you may find yourself being isolated, and so you don't want to do things which you are previously making you happy. But if you try engaging yourself in those things, we've lost the communal games that we had those long time ago, and let's try to get them back. Try to get a place, even if you're past your 50s and you don't normally play football, find a club and you can go just enjoy yourself. As you do those sporting activities, you'll be helping yourself to get mentally stable. And finally, probably what I can say, which is very important, as men, let us remember deep down inside us, we have the ability. Somehow we have the ability, and we have the know-how, we have the knowledge, we have the resources within us and without us, which can help us to get to the place where indeed the society puts us. So let's not forget that the way out is not through suicide, the way out is not through giving up, the way out is through allowing us to get the resources inside us to help us to recover, and that we can do. Let's remember this. Let's always remember this, that life is like riding a bicycle. And for you to keep balance, you must keep moving on. Let's keep moving on, and we shall beat this issue of mental health issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from a licensed psychologist. Dear men, there's no trophy for suffering. It's okay to get help. It's okay to go for therapy. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. Take care of your health. Remember, a cat is a best family helper, but if it dies, you will never call people to attend its burial ceremony. Thank you, viewers.